Hello, welcome. Round 5, Daytona Sandown Park Inkart Championship. You're joining me for Heat 1 and we are starting in 6th position, and you'll notice that it is soaking wet. On the way down, it was absolutely torrential. The N35 STs that went out before us, they got really badly rained on. It's around about, it's about 15 degrees Celsius, so it's probably not going to dry up in the time that we have. However, it has stopped raining and we're off and we're underway. The poleman goes quite early. Poleman is Tom Brown. We move across to the to the right hand side. That's by far the safest place to be. We've got someone going very wide out on the apron there. Justin, our championship rival in the heavies, is right in front of us. We move to the left, see if we can get the cut back. We can't quite. Really treacherous conditions these. We're going to go for the outside line here. Normally, as we get a snap of oversteer on the exit, normally when you are racing in the wet, you want to avoid the areas where most rubber is laid down. So again, we're going to go around the outside and we're just going to look up the inside here. Now, Sandown is funny. It's got some camber changes, but you'll see here, Justin, very good on the exit because he took that wider line. We brake early. We don't want to career into the back of Justin. You'd have saw there just on the left, there's a guy trying to go around the outside again. That is actually the guy who went all the way around the outside in turn 1. We hang it around the outside. We've got the inside to the final corner, and can we make it stick? Yes, we can. So we're up from 6th position to 3rd, and now we're going to do our best to get after the guys ahead. Now the two guys ahead are lightweights, so you have Tom Brown, and actually it's a really good example there just on our left of why the outside line is such a good place to be. Your overall speed is much higher, and your exit speed is going to be much better as well. I always find turn 1 really high risk, and I'll demonstrate that to you a little bit later on today. If you get turn 1 wrong and you go around the outside, then you're in a whole world of pain. But like I say, it is probably faster. So in position 2 here, we've got Isaiah. Very good, very talented driver as we are getting all crossed up on the penultimate corner there. Isaiah's been doing a few Club 100 rounds as well. We just get wide a little bit. We dip our rear left tyre into the mud, and that's just going to ruin our exit a little bit down here. It's also not going to do us many favours when we're going into turn 1 as well, as we see there. We actually get a hit from the driver behind, so he makes his apologies, but that lets Nick Fallon through. So Nick's up into P3 now. We go back up the inside, sail up the inside. We're taking the inside line, means of course that we are going to compromise the exit. Nick sails up the inside again. We're side by side into the very difficult turn 4. You're braking and turning for this one at the same time. A snap of oversteer, but again, by virtue of the fact that we are going right round turn 5, we have the job done. Really difficult traction zone just there on the exit of 5. A lot of rubber normally laid down, just fighting the brakes. Very easy to lock up the rears. I have to say, actually, with regard to the kart today, as Nick sails up the inside again, someone gets a contact warning. I think that was probably the guy who just gave me a slight nudge into turn 1. Look at that, we've got a rain droplet joining us for the footage. Hello, rain droplet, good to see you, good to have you with us. If you wouldn't mind getting out of the way, can't see Isaiah there he is. Just trying to keep these guys in touch with these guys. You never know what's going to happen. Actually, we went out. I'm just going to skip it forward a couple of laps because nothing really happens for the next couple of laps. So there you are. We've just skipped forward a little bit. Trying our best to get with these guys, and this happens. Oh, absolute faceful. Now those two guys behind would have got me. However, they were having difficulties of their own. So we're going to jump on board to Nick Fallon's view. Here he is, there's Nick, that's me ahead. Nick just loses the rear, and the other guy, bit of target fixation. Now that's me ahead, absolutely coating myself and the engine full of water. Yeah, fairly lucky I didn't lose more places there, but just pushing too hard to try and get on terms with the top two. So with the kart, I didn't finish that point actually. Having confidence in the brake pedal in these kind of conditions is really key, as I'm wiping my visor after that dousing. And I really like the brakes actually on this kart. Very, very easy to pump the brake pedal. That was the end of heat 1. Nothing more really happened. So we're going to move on to heat 2 now. So we're starting P3. That was a P3 overall in heat 1, but importantly it was first in class. First in heavyweight class. Now, starting P3, Nick Fallon ahead, lightweight. To our left is Alex Tucker on P2. Nick gets a great start, and actually everyone on the pole side gets a good start, so we're ahead of Alex. And that's an important start. That's an important move off the start, because Alex is a heavyweight contender as well. So important that we made the move on him there. And sometimes you see that as well. Sometimes that everyone on the right hand side gets a better start, everyone on the left gets a better start. We just have to blend out the throttle there. Nick goes wide and then cuts back. We take a slightly narrower line there, but of course you can see that really benefits Nick on the exit, so he's done well there. So we're going to try that as well. We're going to go wide and then cut back. Nick's just a little bit wide there. Again, we're going to go wide and we're going to cut back. We get the exit. We have to blend out the throttle again though. We don't want any contact. So we make sure that we just blend off and on the throttle again, but keeping on terms with them at the moment. In conditions like this, you're likely to find that the heavier drivers do actually have a little bit more grip. Now, of course, on the straights, it's going to be a similar story. The lights will have a little bit more straight line speed, as Nick's just going to demonstrate slightly here, but it's much more even. We've definitely got more grip, and as you see here, I'm taking the inside line. In turn 1, it's difficult to see on this camera angle. The camera kind of lies a little bit, but there is quite a lot of camber there, and the inside of turn 1 dries far more quickly than the outside. So as it hasn't rained for a little while and the sun is out, I'm trying the inside line. I'm certainly finding a little bit more grip there. Nick gets another good exit. But he's just going to go in. We're going to go a little bit wider. He just goes in a little bit hot there. So we have got the outside line. We're going to try cutting back again. And this is where things get really hectic. We're getting pushed and we get pushed into Nick. I throw my hand up there. I'm not the victim there. It's Nick who's the victim. He's lost 2 places. But we're going to have another look at this in slow motion, just because I think it's important to see what happens. So I'm on the left-hand side here of Nick. We're going to go for the cutback again. Now, of course, just like last time, if Nick gets to the apex of the corner first, we'll have to blend out of the throttle. So here is Nick just ahead of us. We've got the kart turned a little bit sooner, and we're just about to get on the throttle, and you'll see with my steering, just as we do get on the throttle, we get a slight slight snap of oversteer, but nothing to worry about, just there. There's still daylight between myself and Nick, but then that's the first hit. We get a hit from behind, and then again, that's the second hit, and the second hit pushes us so far into Nick that it turns him round. And the driver on our right there is able to make 2 places up. We actually are able to right Nick by hitting the front of his kart as well. I throw my hand up. This is Nick's view. I throw my hand up. There's me on the left, because I didn't want both Nick or Race Control to think that I had just smashed into him. I actually got loaded into Nick. Loaded is a term that karters use to sort of describe the fact that when someone pushes you into someone else, then that's loading. So that was the case. Now, I think really importantly at this point, I want to say that I don't have a rear-facing camera, and neither do I have eyes on the back of my head. So it'll be very easy to apportion blame to Tom in front of us here. It might be Tom's fault, I don't know, but it's very possible that he got loaded into me. So I think whilst watching this, that's got to be sort of something that people take into account. It's obviously very, very difficult conditions as well, isn't it? Accidents do happen, particularly in these sorts of conditions. I suppose only really Tom knows what happened, or the guys behind him as well. But he didn't get a penalty for it. I don't know sort of if Race Control had a better view of it than we did. That unfortunately is the way it goes. I have to say, I do feel a little bit sorry for Nick Fallon. He's been turned around, but on a couple of different occasions now, and it's really important for the championship. Now we've got the run on Tom here, so we're going to go onto the right hand side. Now just at this point here, Tom doesn't realise we're here, and he pushes us into the barrier, and we have to get out with throttle, and we sort of both throw our hands up. Me, because I feel I've been pushed into the barrier there. Tom doesn't realise, I think, that I was there. So again, just to clarify the rule on this, now Tom is absolutely within his rights to choose whichever racing line he wants. However, if there is another driver drawing alongside, you have to leave a kart's width. You can't just kind of crowd or force another driver off the circuit. So as we cross the line, Tom's going to get a warning for that. And he sort of throws his hands up again, and it demonstrates that he just didn't know that I was there. He just didn't realise. He was looking straight ahead, and not aware that there was someone drawing alongside him. Tom came to see me about that incident afterwards and made his apologies, but no harm done. I might have had him into turn one, but he didn't cost me any positions or anything like that. So there's Tom's warning about the contact. Now it's going to be really, really tricky this to get past him, because actually I was in practice I was fastest. So like I was saying to you at the beginning of the end of heat one, I was enjoying the car, I was enjoying the braking system on it, so I felt confident. Perhaps a little bit too confident, as I'll demonstrate in a few moments' time. So I was the fastest. However, the man in front of us, Tom Brown, was the second fastest, and he was only 5/100ths of a second behind, so half a tenth of a second behind. So it's going to be very, very difficult to get past him. There's not really a pace differential between us. Certainly not a big enough delta to make it really easy for me to get past him. And you can see that we're sort of strong and weak in different places. This complex here, that my additional weight is probably helping me. The infield straight, Tom's a little bit better off, but there we are. Just ruin it for myself, shaking my head there. Really, really disappointed with myself, because like I was saying, a little bit overconfident, and you've got to push it. It's the business end of a championship, you've got to push it, but if you make those sorts of mistakes like I did in heat one and now in heat two, it's gonna really kind of prevent you from taking the victories that are so important in this kind of championship. So I sometimes get asked, actually, why are we racing on slick tyres? There are rain tyres available in karting. Why not? Why do we not get on them? Well, I think the answer to that is the logistical challenge of changing an entire fleet's kart tyres in the amount of time that we have available is really just not feasible. And being in the UK, we are a country that has very unpredictable weather. So by the time you have changed all the kart's tyres onto wets, you might find that it's dried up and it's time to put them back onto slicks again. And as we're finding a little bit here, you can see that it's still very, very greasy, very, very wet. And actually the lap times haven't really come down, but my fastest lap time of the day was actually in heat one. We're not really lowering our lap times dramatically. Having said that, over the course of the day, it is definitely going to dry up. Like I said, it's about 15 degrees, and it's now going to be sunny. So that's really going to help. And actually on the sun, the front of the sun, you can see that actually the sun really glistens off the surface of the tarmac when it's wet. So I'm actually wearing a smoked visor. I have worn a smoked visor when it's been raining before, and it's very, very difficult to see almost. But no, it was worth doing today. I've been blinded by a wet track enough times. I'm experienced enough with that to know now that a tinted visor is the way to go. So we're just going to try and sit with Tom. Like I said earlier, there are some areas where he is slightly quicker. There are some areas where we are slightly quicker. But I'm just hoping if he can do me a favour, just like I've done him a favour and made a mistake. I've done Tom a favour. I've put myself in the barrier slightly and wiped mud all over my tyres. Now it's Tom's turn. Come on, Tom. But he's actually driving very, very well there, and he's not making any mistakes at all. Even though he's probably got a slightly more difficult job than I have with the less grip that he has. He is driving very, very well. So all we can do is try and pressure him as much as possible. We have caught up with him a little bit, but it's not going to be enough. There we are, and just a slight nod of frustration there, because I think I probably could have had him if I hadn't been so silly and made that mistake. It's just ever so slightly quicker, but not really enough. And to be fair, he didn't make any mistakes, so fair's fair. Now a second overall and a third overall puts us P2 overall on the grid. Now again, this is probably the most nervous I have been all day, because we're on the left hand side, which is going to be the outside of turn one. If someone further back in the pack misses their braking point, they are going to send me straight. There's Dante. Hello, Dante. They're going to hit into the back of me, and they're going to send me straight into the barriers of turn one. Now in the dry, that's about a 56 mile an hour entry speed. Obviously we're not doing those kinds of speeds just yet. Tom goes quite early actually, and Nick right behind him. The two lightweight championship rivals get away. Now actually I'm not too fussed about that. Just like in Heat 2 when I was sandwiched between these guys, really I'd ideally prefer not to be interfering in the championship of the lightweight battle. So actually I'm not too upset that Nick's got ahead of me there. So I can just watch what will hopefully be a really great battle between these two. And even better, I have managed to get round turn one without throwing it into the barrier or without being taken out or anything like that. Yeah, happy days. And now I'm just going to try and work with Nick a little bit. Like I said, we are in different championships. There's no need to be doing anything particularly silly. Again, we just have to blend out the throttle slightly. I've just got my got half an eye on what's going on behind me, because if we are sort of having to change, Nick and I are taking quite different lines. So if and when I do have to check up, blend out the throttle, or take a different line to normal, that might be slowing us down slightly. Again, you can see there, but I take the inside line into one. Nick goes for the outside line, gets the better exit, later apex, better exit. It's just it's a lot more different. There's a lot more difference in terms of lines and choices that people are taking. Actually, on the exit of 3, just there, I was avoiding that like the plague all day, because there's a massive puddle there. I have been through that puddle before actually, it's not fun. I got a little nudge into it and I got absolutely drenched. Best avoided. But actually, there was quite a lot more grip out there than I thought there would be. Normally in the sort of traction zones in the dry, you have a lot of rubber laid down, and whilst in the dry that is a very good thing, in the wet it most certainly is not a good thing. You don't want a lot of rubber filling all the little gaps as someone's gone off track limits there. You don't want a lot of rubber kind of making a very smooth surface for your slick tyres. You want to try and stay off the rubber as much as possible, and that's why we seem to all be missing the apex there. There's no coincidence in that. That's very much a choice. It's a choice that you have to make a real decision. If you think about half a move up the inside of Nick there, but you have to make a choice about this. Are you going to go all the way around the outside? The thing about going all the way around the outside, as we found out here in Heat 1 and just at the end of a lap a couple of times already, is if you get it slightly wrong, if you get it an inch or two wrong, and you're already way out wide, as again we're very close there to that the grass. then you're going to have a much bigger incident. You might find actually that driving at 98% and being really consistent gets you a faster race lap. Race time. Maybe it won't give you the fastest lap, but it will probably give you the fastest race time. Because let's say you're doing 1:02.5s for 15 laps, which is a very respectable time. You might be able to get a 1:02.3, but if you make a mistake that costs you a second, then you're going to have to be putting in 1:02.3s for 10 laps to make that second back. So excuse me. So on the basis that if you're absolutely pushing, if you're overstepping the limit, you might make a mistake or two, as we have done already today. Then you might find, but just scaling it back a little bit is what you need to be doing. An important thing for me here at the moment is that we've got two lightweights ahead of us. Not too much of a problem really, and the championship rivals are behind. So let's just talk about the championship at the moment. So in the lightweight battle, we'll start with them as we're looking at them. We've got Nick Fallon, the driver who's directly ahead of us. He's leading the lightweight battle, followed closely by Tom Brown, who is the driver leading this race. He's up ahead in second place. And then Mark Hessler, who is behind us at the moment. Can't see him just at the moment, he's just behind us. And he is in P3. Whilst in the heavyweights, you have me, Robbie Mango, leading, and then you have Justin Hammond, who we saw at the start of Heat 1, important move to put on Justin there, because obviously it's not a big gap. I think it's about 10 points at the moment. Not sure what the points are after this round, but at the time of speaking, time of racing, the gap really isn't a lot, and there's sort of potentially 40 points per round, so if I drop the ball, he's gonna easily overtake me. So we've only got a couple of rounds left now after what happened today. So it's going to be important that we keep him behind. And then we have Alex Tucker in third. Again, very very quick. Not guys that we can sort of take any liberties with. Now this is important actually, because I'm sort of keeping pace with the two lightweight drivers ahead. And you might be thinking, send it. In previous videos, I've sort of been saying things like, there's no need to be holding the lightweights up, they're in a different championship. That still stands. However, in the heats and in the finals, you actually get points depending on where you finish overall. So, if you come third overall, but you're P1 in the heavyweight class, you're going to get the points for third overall, not the points for P1 in the heavyweight class. So actually, if there is an opportunity for more points, then you should go for it. But oh God, we are so lucky to get away with that. So lucky. As we just get a little bit overexcited, I'm sort of commentating this as I thought it at the time, and I was thinking, these two guys are not. Well, they are disappearing a little bit now actually, after I put my tyres on the grass there. I've done that a couple of times before. I can't quite believe that I carried on and actually didn't lose too much time. Nick's still probably just around about a second ahead of me. Very, very lucky. Normally, the minute you leave the track there and hit that runoff area is really slippery, and normally you just skate off into the barrier. So I can't quite believe I was actually able to recover it, and very, very lucky that I didn't lose more time. We just tried to get our head down a little bit, and a great battle starts with Nick Fallon up ahead. So a couple of laps has gone by. I've just moved it forward a little bit, great little battle. Thank you to Aidan Fallon who's taking some footage there. So there's Tom Brown up ahead, and then there's Nick, and then there's me, and then behind me is Elijah. So it's going to be really, really important like I said, because we don't, we want as many points as we can get our hands on. It's going to be really important to try and, certainly keep Elijah behind. That's not going to be easy. Very quick driver from Club 100 and from Daytona. We've also got to try and get ahead of the championship leading lightweight driver. Now, we do have the grip advantage today, but he's still very quick. And again, he's putting his car in exactly the right places. He's forcing me to blend out the throttle on the apex. Excellent kart management. And we just put our foot on, sorry, not our foot, our tyre on the grass again. So, trying really, really hard. I know it looks slow, but we've just let Elijah go past as a result of again, just overstepping the mark slightly. So now we're down to a net fourth, locking the rear axle, letting it go, letting it run again, locking it, letting it go, doing our absolute best. Can we get up the inside of Elijah here? No, we can't. Elijah just gets a snap of oversteer, and we're going to go up it's around the outside now. So can we do anything about this? We're going to go for the cutback, and now we're going to get a better apex, better exit, and you can see the power of I'll get your words out, of that exit. Now Elijah again just goes slightly wide, and again he's going to go slightly wide, so we take the inside line there and we manage to block him off on the exit, so just hogging the middle of the road there, and we get the job done. But he's really, really quick. He's right behind us, and absolutely no way that we can sort of continue to take the kinds of risks that we have been taking. We've with the fight for P4. We've dropped back slightly from Nick Fallon here, and now we're on the final lap. So at this point I'm thinking it's unlikely that we're going to be able to do anything about Nick here, but we get a good launch around turn one. Nick just drifting the kart on the exit there, and again Nick just a little bit late on the apex there, so we're now again right with him. Like I said before, there's certain parts of the track that we are quick, and other parts that Nick is. Now this is how it's done. We're side by side. Nick squeezes us, but he gives us a kart's length, or a kart's width I should say, and we are through. We're through up into P2 overall on the last lap. So now can we hold it? We're going to go, we're going to have to go defensive. There's Tom Brown up ahead. All this fighting and sliding off the track has meant that Tom's going to take a relatively easy win here, but we're just fighting for traction, fighting for the rears, and lighting the rears up, and now Nick's up the inside of us again, and this is for the line. There's Nick, we're side by side, and we just get P2 on the line. That was 0.003, 3/1000ths of a second. I took P2 there overall, and of course it was a P1 in class. So really, really amazing battle. Well done to Nick. Really, really clean fight. Really, really exciting, really engaging. Well done to everyone, actually. Really difficult conditions out there as well. So here is the top three in the heavyweights. As myself, Alex and Justin. So well done. Thanks very much for watching. Look forward to seeing you again for the next one.